Right, so welcome everybody. Again, I'm Dr. Dave Beasley, Recruitment and Admissions Specialist here at the UNLV Graduate College. I'm joined by my colleague Lori Filippo of the Graduate College, who's our International Recruitment and Admissions Specialist. And we've got a brief presentation for you today, a little bit about the international process here at admissions process here at the UNLV Graduate College. So I'm going to do the first half here, and then I'm going to turn things over to Lori and let her walk you through some of the finer points of the international application process and admissions process. So let's start with just a few things about why the UNLV why do your graduate work here at UNLV? So first of all, we have the prestigious R1 ranking that comes to us from the Carnegie Classification of Institutions of Higher Education. We're one of only 131 universities in the country to have that particular distinction. We're very, very proud of it. It's the absolute gold standard when it comes to colleges and universities in the United States to have that. And what that means is there's very high research activity happening on our campus. We have well over 160 graduate degree and certificate programs, including more than 40 doctoral and professional programs. So pretty much no matter what you're interested in working on and studying, chances are we're going to have something for you. We are among the most diverse universities in the United States, according to U.S. News and World Report. We're currently ranked second. We've been first in the past. I expect it will be there again as well. And we're big believers in the idea that our diversity is a big part of what makes us such a special place to learn, study, live, and work. We do have a professional development academy here available through our graduate college. That's in addition to other professional development opportunities that our individual programs offer. And that's certificate programs, career support, workshops, training, really lots of opportunities for you there through our grad academy. We also have the community engagement classification from the Carnegie Foundation for the Advancement of Teaching. We're one of only 119 universities in the country to have that particular distinction. We're very, very proud of that as well. So if the research that you're interested in doing is going to be involved with members of the community here in Southern Nevada, if you think, hey, I'm going to need to go out into the community around where I'm going to school and gather some data, there's really no better place to do it than here at UNLV. We do have nationally and internationally recognized faculty in highly ranked programs. We have 12 top 100 programs. The latest rankings just came out. We have 12 doctoral programs that are in the top 100 in the country. We have highly ranked programs really across the university, from the College of Liberal Arts, the College of Health Sciences. We really have some fantastic programs, and we have great faculty. I've been here at UNLV for a decade now. I've worked, I did my doctorate here, and then I've worked with faculty across a wide range of disciplines. I've gone to professional meetings, conferences, other events. I'm always really impressed with not only the depth of knowledge of our faculty, but how well known and how well respected they are in their particular fields. Vegas is a big city, right? We're a city of about 2 million people. So we have a lot of local employers, and we have a pretty diverse local economy. A lot of our programs do offer opportunities to partner or internship with local employers. I wish we could show you more of our campus right now. Obviously, things are still a little bit in flux due to the pandemic, but we do have some really amazing labs, research centers, and libraries. For example, right before the pandemic started, we had just opened our Blackfire Innovation Center. That's a public-private partnership between UNLV and Caesars Entertainment that lets our hospitality students try out things in real-world environments. It's really exciting. We have amazing labs and lab equipment here on campus, and great libraries, right? We have a number of libraries on campus. We have sort of a main library, but we also have a music library, an architecture studies library, a teaching and learning library. In addition to that, we have 1 million print volumes across those libraries, and then access to another 1 million volumes through our online subscription. So that's 2 million books you'll have access to here at UNLV, in addition to 80,000 scholarly articles, journal subscriptions, periodicals, really lots of resources here for you. So again, no matter what you're going to study, you're going to have the resources to complete the research you need here. I know that a lot of people sort of worry about, how do I make this all work with the time and conducting my own research and having time to do that and take my courses, right? So we have a lot of afternoon classes, a lot of evening classes. We have more online classes than we've ever had before. And we even have some programs that are fully online. We do have opportunities to gain hands-on experience through graduate assistantships. I really encourage everybody, if you'd like to know more about those, come back next week at the same time, because we're going to have a thing all about graduate assistantships for international students. But I'll just say this very quickly, that we do have 1,000 of these positions, so about 1 in 5 of our graduate and professional students are funded through those. And I'll also mention that that's where we pay you to go to school, so it's a pretty good deal. And finally, you're going to have the chance to develop some really long-lasting relationships with faculty and classmates. I know you may say that you could do that any place, but there really is something special about the relationships here at UNLV. I'm a Grad Rebel grad. Lori's a Grad Rebel grad. You know, those relationships with faculty and with our classmates are things that, you know, have kept up. Like I said, I've been here for a decade. I still keep up with everybody that I went to grad school with, and people are scattered all over the country. A few of us are still local, though. And we get together, but the rest of us keep up via email, text, social media. So let's talk a little bit about choosing what you'd like to study. Like I said, we've got well over 160 programs here, so it could be kind of a lot to think about. So if you're not sure what you'd like to study, here are just some tips. You can sort of ask yourself the following questions. You know, one really good one is, where can I make the most impact? Right? What is your passion? What do you think you can really, what's a field that you think you can really contribute to? And going along with that, what matters to you the most, right? Think about what you're willing to sacrifice, you know, time, resources, things like that, but also think about what you're not willing to sacrifice, right? And I think that's something that's really, really important. You know, for me, I don't do cold weather, okay, like at all. So there were certain parts of the country when I was looking at graduate programs that I just moved off the list. I was like, I'm not living there, it's too cold. So, you know, you can think about that. But, you know, also think about too, like the kind of faculty that we have here at UNLV. Take a look at those faculty profiles and determine it. You know, I study 18th century British literature. And one of the things that drew me to UNLV was the fact that UNLV had 2 faculty members with that. Most programs only have 1. So sort of looking at where the resources were was a great way for me to go as well. But really think about the things that you want to do, because you're not just going to be studying at UNLV. You're going to be living and working in Las Vegas. And so really sort of think about that. So the biggest thing I can say, and I think this is really good advice here, is find your passion and do what you love. There's a lot of opportunities to kind of check out of graduate work along the way, places where like nobody would blame you if you walked. And if you're not passionate about what you're doing, if you don't love it, you'll take one of them. So I would say find something that you really love to do. Definitely look into some research in your fields of interest. I'm pretty sure everybody here with us today is with UNLV. So if you are, we have amazing subject librarians. If you're not sure where to start with some of the research in your field, talk to subject librarians. They'd be more than happy to help you. You know, keep in mind as well that things like STEM program, you know, your STEM programs and optional practical training benefits, right? Keep that in mind. Those OPT benefits are really important. I know Lori's going to touch on those later in the presentation. It's always a good idea to take a look at the job market. You know, it's going to be a little tough to predict the job market going forward. Right now is a great time to go back to school, though, sort of, or to stay in school, right? The economy's a little down still because of the pandemic. It's going to take it a little while to come back. So now's a great time to be in school. Get that extra layer of training. Go ahead and get those graduate degrees now. By the time you graduate, things will be much more up and running, I think, you know, across the world. And so wherever it is that you choose to ultimately live and work, I think you'll have a lot of opportunities there. And then again, there's after graduation OPT, but again, I'm going to let Lori touch on that more because that's not exactly in my wheelhouse. So let me talk to you a little bit about the application process. So no matter which of our programs you apply to, you're going to apply through our Grad Rebel Gateway. You can see a link to it right there. Once you put in some basic personal information and you tell it which program that you're interested in and the term of admission that you're interested in trying for, it will auto-populate the rest of your application. So it'll give you a checklist and you just follow that. It'll also be a chance for you to read any important instructions, and you'll apply for those graduate assistantships right there. There is an application fee. It's $95 for international applicants, and it's non-refundable. After that, you've got to submit your application and do the hardest part, which is waiting. And I'll also mention that we have a lot of information sessions, application workshops, things like that. So we know that this whole process can be a little bit daunting for you. We've got a lot of things for you. In addition to that, there's a lot of great resources here on campus. So you can always reach us at internationalgrad@unlv.edu, and we can point you in the direction of some of those things. So in looking at the Grad Rebel Gateway, you'll see here, right? Again, you'll put your program of interest, the scholarship and assistantship stuff, that's all in that funding tab right there. So for admissions, that'll be where you'll do your application. For the funding, you'll do that in the scholarship, or excuse me, the funding tab is for scholarships and assistantships, and then you'll do that admission checklist. The deadlines are in the homepage, and the graduate coordinator details are in your homepage too. So it'll tell you what the deadline for your program is, it'll tell you what your admission checklist is, and it'll tell you who your graduate coordinator is. So each of our programs has a coordinator. So you can see right here in this particular application, it's in that contact information square there. You can see that, and that will always tell you who to go to with those program-specific questions. Let's talk a little bit about basic application requirements, and then I'm going to turn things over to Lori and let her talk about some of the more international specific things. So here's what we need from you. We need a bachelor's degree from a regionally accredited institution or equivalent. If you're with us at UNLV and graduating from UNLV, UNLV most assuredly counts as a regionally accredited institution, so you won't have any problem there. We are looking for a 2.75 overall GPA or a 3.0 GPA over the course of your last 60 credits, or if you're going full-time, it's about your last 2 years. We understand that sometimes college can be a little bit bumpy, right? Especially in the beginning. Maybe the transition is tougher than we realize. Maybe we're trying to do too much. Maybe you're like me and just party too much your freshman year. So whatever the case, we do have that freshman forgiveness program if you don't quite have that 2.75. And I'll say too, some programs may have slightly higher requirements, but even if you don't quite meet the requirements, if you're close, reach out to us. Let us get you in touch with the program. Sometimes programs will be willing to work with you a little bit. We may very well need, so we will need transcripts from all the post-secondary institutions you attended. And if you attended a school outside of the United States, chances are we're going to need a foreign credential evaluation. Then there are additional factors. And these are things determined by your program, right? So some programs require a personal statement or a statement of interest or something like that. Others might require a GRE or a GMAT, letters of recommendation, writing samples, portfolio. Really depends on the program. So it's really important to go to that program website and get that program specific information as well. And now I'm going to get out of your way and turn things over to Lori and let her walk you through some of the more international specific things.
Perfect. Thank you, Dave. And I wanted to mention too, just to kind of touch on what Dave said in the last slide. Just because I don't think it's in this presentation, but Dave does a tremendous amount of other workshops. So we have a lot that go over the application process. There's a 201 that you may be interested, especially when in your application, that will really go over more of those factors that he was mentioning, like the statement of intent, letters of recommendation. So you are more than welcome to go ahead and attend any of those other workshops that we do have, especially when going through your application. We have drop-in sessions, so please feel free to check those out. They are on our website, and we'll definitely help you out with them. But to continue with what Dave mentioned, the next step we're going to go over a little bit more is just that foreign credential evaluation. So Dave, if you want to switch slides. Thank you. So if you are a UNLV student, you may have already completed this. What this is if you've completed coursework and degrees from outside the United States, it is required that we need to have what's called a course-by-course foreign credential evaluation. This evaluation needs to come from a NACCES approved agency. As you can see here from the list, these are all the agencies that are current with NACCES, and any of our, you can choose any one of these for the evaluation. The most common ones that our students use is World Education Services, SpanTran. I've seen a lot from Educational Credential Evaluators. Trying to think of another one. Educational Perspectives is another one. We have a lot of representatives for these as well. So if you have any questions, if you do have to do one and you didn't do one in undergrad, go ahead and reach out to me. I'll help you out with it. we'll make sure that you actually need one for your program and get you on the right path for it. Go ahead, Dave. Okay, so now, of course, we're going to talk about the English proficiency, which is required for all international students. So Dave, go ahead and click. All right. So again, if you are a UNLV undergrad, the one nice thing is that when you complete your bachelor's degree at UNLV, you actually do not have to take one of these English tests. We would just use your degree from UNLV in place of the test. But if by chance there's any students here who maybe are outside of UNLV, I'll run through the list of the tests that we do accept. So for the English proficiency, students can show their TOEFL, IELTS, the Michigan test, or the PTE. You'll see the scores below. So for TOEFL, we would have to see a minimum score of an 80. The IELTS would be a 6.5. The Michigan test would be an 85, and the PTE is a 65. Now, if you did complete your degree at UNLV or you're about to complete it when you start applying with the graduate college, again, don't worry about these tests. Even if you provided these tests to the undergrad, don't worry about it. We're just going to use your degree from UNLV in place of this. Okay, Dave? So these are just some updates that we wanted to provide about the test. Again, just in case you may need them. So for the TOEFL, so due to the COVID and the pandemic, we've been tracking a lot of these tests to see what's going on with them. So this would be more, I guess, for students that are maybe outside of the country right now, that maybe just can't get the test offered in their country or their location, they can't go in person. So there is a special home edition for the TOEFL. So students can take it. So if you, or by chance, if you know anyone that's looking to start graduate school and may say, hey, I can't get my test done, there is a special home edition for the TOEFL. This is directly on the ETS website. Or if you or anyone you know has any questions about it, please feel free to have them reach out to us. We'll go over it. But we do accept the special home edition due to COVID. Okay, go ahead. And then these are some other updates that we have. And now we do have our updates directly on our website. So again, with COVID and the pandemic, if there's any kind of changes with any testing, foreign credential evaluation, enrolling in courses, we will make sure it's readily available to you. So these are just some updates that we have for the English proficiency. The IELTS, they have what's now called an IELTS Indicator. So kind of similar with the TOEFL with their home edition. They do offer an online test now. So same idea, the students can take it from home. They do a face-to-face. It's completely confidential, and then those test scores will be sent to us. The Michigan test, this is through UNLV. So the fall 2021, they don't have the dates available yet, but I'm assuming that should be coming out soon. So if you do need to take a test on campus, you may want to reach out to the Language Center and see if they have those dates yet and if you can sign up for any of them. The Pearson test, this one, they have resumed in many locations. So if you are thinking about doing a PTE, I would say just check out their website, see if your country is part of that, and if you can go ahead and take that test. Also, we are accepting the Duolingo test. So for this, students would need a score of a 105. Right now, we're accepting it just for fall 2021, but we are hoping that we'll accept it for future terms as well. But again, please keep in mind, if you are graduating from UNLV with your undergrad or you're about to graduate, you don't have to worry about these tests. Okay,
I want to jump in real quick,
yeah.
Lori, and just say one thing about the IELTS indicator. It says all over that website to be sure that your school takes that. So just so you know, like UNLV will take it. I just don't want anybody to see that and think that that they're looking at the wrong thing. It just does say that a lot on the website.
Yeah, no, that's a great point. Yeah, some of these tests, these are ones that we will take. So always make sure with that too. These are ones that we accept at UNLV. Other institutions, they may have really other restrictions or want you to take a specific test with them. Okay, so we're gonna go over deadlines. So Dave, if you wanna go ahead and switch. Perfect. So with the graduate college, this is probably one of the most important areas that we can't stress enough to our students, is the deadlines. If you have not yet started to submit your graduate college application, or if you're starting to look for a degree, make sure you're also looking at our deadline page. All of our programs have different deadlines. Typically for international students, your application and your materials have to be in by May 1st for the fall semester, or October 1st for spring. But if your program has an earlier deadline than May or October, then you need to get it in by that deadline. So for example, there are some programs that have already passed because their deadline was in February. So if you're one of those students and that's your program, reach out to us. We can always see if maybe we can reach out to the coordinator. It would be up to them if they would still be willing to open up the application for you. But really make sure you're planning ahead. Know your deadline for your program. This is also crucial if you have to do any kind of GMAT, letters of recommendation, statement of intents. You want to make sure you have enough time and that you give yourself enough time to get all your materials ready so that you can have everything in by that specific deadline for your program. We do have a whole deadline page on our website for every single program, but if you have any questions on it, please reach out to us. We'll help you out to determine when you need to get stuff in. But this is a big factor for all students. All right, so the I-20, we're gonna go over a little bit about this, as you may already have an I-20 right now, especially if you are a UNLV student. So you may know that for the I-20, to become a grad rebel, you will need a document that's called the I-20. This is for the visa interview and throughout the program. So in order for us to issue an I-20 at the graduate college, you first have to be accepted into your program. Once you are accepted into your program, we will reach out to you with the required documents for the I-20. Even if you have one already with undergrad, you do need one with the graduate college. So you would be getting what's called a change of level. So you would still have to show that proof of funding for one academic year. And then once we see those documents, we'll issue you a change of level I-20 for the graduate college. And then the OISS office, you can go ahead and switch slides, thanks. I know the team is here. So what will happen if you're not familiar already with the OISS office is once you do get your I-20, they're going to then be your main go-to. So we will issue the I-20 at the graduate college. We will go ahead and send that to you. And then after that, you'll want to make sure you check in with your international advisor at the international office. And then they will be really your go-to after that. So if you do have any questions about CPT, OPT, when you graduate from your program, they're going to be your main person to go to. They will sign your travel documents. So you may know this with undergrad, but it's going to be the same idea with the graduate level as well. Okay. We wanted to touch a little bit on housing. So if you are already at UNLV, some of you may be staying on campus. There may be some that are off. I believe with undergrad, from what I've been told that it's like required that you have to stay on campus for a little bit. Now with the graduate college, that's not the case. We do offer on-campus housing. We do have some brand new fully furnished apartments from the degree. There is the U also where we're located at the graduate college. but students can stay off campus if they would like. So there are some resources through these links. As Dave mentioned, we will send this presentation out to you. So if you have any questions, maybe want to check out some of these housing options, you're more than welcome to do so. If you have any questions on housing, I would go to that website and reach out to them directly, and then they can let you know more about the costs and how that works. All right. So for our UNLV Recruitment and Admissions team, you want to go ahead and switch slides. So this is our whole team. It's very small. With everything that we do, this is everyone on our team. So there's myself and Dr. Dave Beasley. We also have Matthew Montalto, who is an admissions analyst. He will also be working on the applications, helping with recruitment. We also have our Associate Director of Admissions, Elizabeth Jost. And we do have 2 GAs within the graduate college. They are current grad students as well. So they're a great resource also if you maybe wanted to reach out to a student, kind of get a student's perspective. You're more than welcome to reach out to them. But we're all here. If you have any questions or concerns for us, we're more than happy to help you out. Dave, I don't know if there's anything you want to mention on this slide as well.
I just mentioned that Azarm is an international student as well, so she can sort of, she's a great resource if you kind of want to talk to somebody about being an international GA, but don't forget, come next week, because we got all kinds of people who are international GAs to talk with you.
Perfect. All right, I think you can go to the next step. So that kind of concludes our part of the presentation. This is just our contact information. This is the location that we are at. If you haven't been to the Gateway building, please feel free to stop by, check it out. This is kind of like our hub for graduate students. So we do have a computer lab in here for students to use. We are open Monday through Friday from 8 to 5. We are on the 2nd floor. But if you have any questions for myself or Dave or the team, please reach out to gradrecruitment@unlv.edu, or you can give us a call at 702-895-4543. And perfect. Well, thank you guys for having us and for listening to our part of the presentation. I'm not sure if, I think we're going to be having some GAs. Talitha, I'll let you kind of.
Perfect. Hi, everyone. My name is Talitha Liput. I'm the Administrative Assistant for the Office of International Students and Scholars on campus. Before we do the introduction for our 3 lovely student panelists today, I just wanted to give everyone a moment for those who are on the call. If you guys have any sort of questions that you would like to ask Dave or Lori before we move on to the student panel, please feel free to either unmute yourself, turn on camera, or write it in the chat. That way we're able to sort of answer any questions that you guys might have. I'll give everyone maybe about a minute for that, but once we hit maybe about 2:38, we'll probably get on with our introduction of our lovely panelists, and then we will get on with the student panelist Q&A. And don't be shy, we don't bite. It's also virtual, so. I feel like I want to play Jeopardy music. Well, while we're waiting for people to either type in the chat or try to get their mics to work, I just want our 3 lovely panelists. We'll start off with Medina to introduce themselves.
Awesome. Would you like me to start now? Cool. What would you like me to share about myself? Just like general bio, how I got into grad school?
Yeah, so just talk about, before we get into like the questions, let's just talk, what's your name? What do you study? Where are you from?
Okay, awesome. Hi all, my name is Medina Kamolova. I'm studying Management of Information Systems as a master's student, and I am from Tajikistan. You might not know about this country. It's in Central Asia. It's a very small one among all other stands. You can Google it. You're welcome to. I speak 3 languages. I speak Tajik, Russian, and English. So if you do, I think we have one panelist from Russia, Valeria, right? Привет! Ты же говоришь по-русски, да?
Да, конечно, 18 лет.
Отлично, приятно познакомиться. Yeah, just so you guys know what we were talking about, we just said hi. I asked her if she speaks Russian. She said yes, of course. Like she's the native, obviously, Medina. And we just exchanged pleasantries.
Perfect. Dina, do you want to go next?
Did you want me to go next? Sorry. It's actually funny because me and Kirsten is my Canadian sister pretty much, and Madina is in my class this semester as well. So we're all pretty much connected in some way. But I am from Russia, like she mentioned. I came to United States 7 years ago, and I got my bachelor's degree in UNLV in hospitality. Currently, I am getting my dual degree in management information systems and hospitality as well. This is my, I would say, third year because I'm doing a dual degree, so I have more classes. But I'm proud to say that my next semester is my last semester. I'm writing my professional paper, and I will be done. And just generally, I think the process of applying for grad school was kind of tough for me because I had a a short time period to apply. But Lori was so amazing. I am so grateful to her to this day because I changed 3 majors while I got into the program I'm in right now. And I'm just very grateful for, international admissions, like always I say, and, grad school. It was really, it was really a tough process on preparing yourself. But when I actually got to the office and Lori took me in, she really helped me a lot, and it became so much easier. The Grad Rebel Gateway is a great website. You can track your process. I was literally living on it, trying to see if I got into school. I have multiple majors I applied for. So I think it's a great tool, from standpoint of a management information system student. It's something that is so important to be able to, view your process online and see how UNLV is developing in a technological way. So I think the process was, after all, fun, and it's not easy to be in grad school. It's a lot of research. It's a responsibility. It's a higher education. Just getting a bachelor's, you're responsible for more classes, and 3 credits is weights more than the 3 credits as a bachelor's degree. But it's rewarding. I started applying for jobs, and telling them about the degree I'm getting and research I'm doing. Some employers are very impressed. So I think it's all worth it after all.
Perfect. So we'll go to Kristen, and then I did get a question from one of the members of the audience. So Kristen, after your introduction, we'll get into some questions.
Hello, everyone. My parents are evil, and it's spelled Kirsten. It's pronounced Kirsten. And so that's always fun. But I am from Canada, like Valeria said. Her and I were in classes together, and she's become actually one of my absolute best friends. I'm currently in Canada right now because of everything online, and thanks to Michael, my amazing advisor's help. He has been phenomenal through the process of making sure I could be back in my home country to study this semester, and making sure we're complying with everything, as us international students have to know. Currently studying in hospitality, also education in a weird way, if anyone has questions on that. I know they touched on finding your passion and what you absolutely love, and coming to Vegas made me love hospitality, but then found a passion in education. So that is what I'm studying. Did my undergrad actually in Utah, long time ago. So been in the US, but I'm Canadian.
Beautiful. Well, those were our 3 lovely panelists. So the question that we got from a member of the audience is that they have already submitted their application to the MIS program. So they wanted to know what's the typical time frame that it takes to figure out whether or not you've been accepted, or how long does it take to sort of figure out what's going on so you can make your decision. Lori or Dave, if you're still on the call.
Yeah, I think you want me to take that, Dave, or you got it?
Either way, go for it.
All right, I'll let you jump in too if you have more information. Yeah, so So what I would say, once you submit your application and your documents, it's first going to be reviewed by the graduate college. So I'm not too sure what your status is right now. You can check out your status on your Grad Rebel Gateway. But if you have any questions about what your status is, reach out to us. We'll check it out. But typically what happens is this first gets reviewed by the graduate college. As long as we have everything that we need to do our review, it's usually pretty quick. We might be able to get it done in a few days, possibly a week or so. As long as we have everything, our part is pretty quick because we're just reviewing the transcripts as well as that English proficiency and possible foreign credential evaluation. After that, everything does get sent to, everything does get sent to the department. That's where your time frame may vary. It just depends on, really when does the department start reviewing the your application? Do they have all the requirements that they need to review? But you'll keep seeing your status change in your Grad Rebel Gateway. So you'll see once it's under review by us, you'll see when it's under review by the by your department. You'll see when it's pending a decision. So you can always reach out to us. We can always check on it. If you see it's under departmental review, you can even reach out to the department, your graduate coordinator. They can let you know what the status is, but let us know. Dave, I don't know if there's more that you want to go ahead and touch on as well.
Yeah, I think the only thing I would add to that, and I think that's as others have said, one of the great things about the Grad Rebel Gateway is you can log into it and kind of see how things are progressing. One thing that's just sort of a piece of general advice that I would say is it's never a bad idea to find out how your program handles applications. So some programs do what we call rolling admissions. Other programs sort of do everything at once. So rolling admissions means as the applications come in, they look at them. Programs that have dates that are sort of kicked out a little bit further into the year do that a lot of times, right? They're sort of taking them as they come. Whereas other programs, especially ones with earlier deadlines, they will wait until the deadline has passed and then look at everything all together. So that's, if you're concerned about time frame and things like that, it's never a bad idea to reach out to the coordinator of the program that you're applying to and just ask, hey, do you do rolling admissions or do you wait until the deadline? Because you don't kind of, it's a little bit of a delicate thing to ask, right? Because you don't want to be pressuring them, but at the same time, you're sort of like, hey, like I need some information, I just very briefly, I had a very strange lease. I lived in Virginia, and instead of having to give 30 days notice to vacate the last place I lived in Virginia, I had to give 90, which is kind of a long time. And I was running up against that deadline and having to reach out to graduate programs and be like, my lease is about to automatically renew itself. Like, can somebody please give me some information? So I think I think the more that you know going in, the better off that you're going to be.
Perfect. So now for our panelists, I just have a couple questions for you unless someone else in the group has additional questions. But for the three of you, what was the most difficult part about applying to grad school as an international student?
It's hard to think about the hard part because everything was just so smooth. Yeah, I feel like also like when I applied to grad school, it was during like right when the pandemic started, so everything was online. And the way that the Grad Rebel Gateway is built, you're just submitting everything online. I don't remember if I needed to get like letters of recommendations for the program itself. If I did, again, it was all online. It's very convenient. And if you have friends, if you're not applying yourself for grad school, but if you're thinking about your friends back in your home country who would like to get a degree at UNLV, graduate degree at UNLV, let them know that the process is extremely easy. You just file everything in Grad Rebel Gateway, and then concerning your I-20, Lori was very helpful. She processed my I-20 in like the same day. We were actually emailing each other back and forth in like 30 minutes max. I got my I-20 like that same day. Because it's I feel like because it was online, it was so much faster. But even without it, the process wasn't hard at all. it's definitely worth it. You'll contribute some of your time to get it done. You'll definitely need to get that GPA. That's where you will need to put longer effort. $95 for international students, but other than that, like the process itself is really easy.
Kristen, Valeria, anything to
Hi.
add, or was it?
I can jump in. I completely agree. The process is amazing. Don't know if this is for any other international student, but for myself, I think the absolute hardest part about applying for grad school, everything like that, is almost that getting accepted, that proving the funds for your I-20. I honestly think is, as an international student, is only, maybe some people are a little okay. I didn't have $50,000 just readily available to show. So I think myself, that was probably one of the hardest processes too. But Lori was amazing. Again, always hopeful, so good with trying to give ideas and different things. And again, she processed it so fast and gave suggestions on what to do. It all worked out, obviously, because I'm a student, but that for myself personally was one of the hardest things when I think about going back through the process. Besides that, pretty straightforward. Like, was interested, it all happened fast. It was like a July. I was like, I'm gonna move to Vegas. How can I move to Vegas? I'm gonna go to school. And it was like a July. Took my GRE. Ooh, the GRE was pretty rough. I wasn't in school for 5 years, so I took a 5-year gap. And so for me, not being in my undergrad to grad school, 5 years is a long time to remember math. So GRE for myself personally was a little rough. I got an online tutor, which was awesome. And then the College of Hospitality was really good with communicating. I didn't get the exact score I wanted, but I asked them, I was very like, should I retake it? And they're like, no, like you should be okay. So that was really helpful to not spend another few $100s. And then everything else kind of just went, not being able to necessarily, I guess I was lucky. I'm from Canada, and there's $99 flights from my city to Vegas pre-pandemic, so I can jump on a flight, and I got to come to campus and check it all out and talk to a grad coordinator. So for a lot of other international students, having the ability, Canada is a very exception to this rule, but not everyone can just jump on a plane and come check out our campus or go see your coordinator or kind of have that relationship. So that would be, I think, in my mind, a little more tough. But everything else, again, thank you, Grad Rebel Gateway, and having it all figured out, and awesome people like Lori in our lives who help us guide us through it all. So again, that funds was my challenge. We got it, so we good.
I'll go ahead and piggyback on that. So, my journey, I guess, was a little different since I was a graduate from UNLV, and then I took my time to work on my OPT, and then about a month or 2 months before my OPT was over, I realized that I'm not getting an H-1B, and I'm not really planning to go back to my home country. So I started looking at options, and I saw an opportunity to go back to school for a master's degree. So you're looking at beginning of March, and my OPT was ending May 12th, the day of my graduation, exactly a year later. And I knew that I only had 60 days after I lose the job to be deported or leave the country voluntarily. So it was kind of a time crunch. So I, started studying for GRE. I was working graveyard. It was tough, but you put into effort, and I know I got this course that qualified me for MIS. And when we sat down with Lori, we realized that as good as it sounds, the program for MIS starts in the fall. And if I don't leave a country by July, I have to leave and come back. And I don't know if you guys know how tough relationship between Russia and the US are, but that would not work for me. So pretty much, if I left the country, I would not be able to come back for the next 10 years. So yeah, and thanks to Lori again, she's so amazing. We actually were able to find a program that was starting June 15th. So it was like a summer program, because not all programs have beginning in summer. I actually got enrolled in childhood education for ESL because I do have a bachelor's degree in English as well. And I took 3 classes in the summer. So I was a full-time student in my master's for ESL, and then I switched my major to MIS in the fall. And then the end of the fall, I switched my major to MIS and hospitality. And now I'm sitting and considering, should I go back for another year and actually finish my third master's? But that's, you know, the craziness of my life. But that's something that was really important to consider. So somebody who is actually just getting off OPT, we only have 60 days. And if you're looking into summer, not all the programs are available in summer. So that's something to keep in mind. Just make sure that your logistics and your times, you know, with pandemic, it's not that easy to travel back to your country, come back, get visas. It's just tougher. It was tough before, but it's more complicated now. So it's something that I want to give as advice. Just make sure to know that you can stay in the country, obviously, you know, with all your paperwork up to date, and start your program simultaneously, so you don't have a gap or worry what's going to happen with you within, you know, the month of July or August. You just have to be very careful with the time frames. But thank you, Lori. You're amazing. I'm so grateful for you forever, and everybody else. But Lori, she was great.
I just want to say thank you really quick for everybody. And I'm glad everything worked out for you all. But this proves too that no matter what you're going through, we can find a solution for you. So we'll figure it out.
Beautiful. And then with 7 minutes to go, I'll go into my last question for our panelists. What are some tips and advice that you would give to international students who are looking at applying for grad school?
You have to write the impeccable letter of intent. You have to read it 1,000 times, find people whose English is the first language, you know, obviously Kirsten is in favor here, and just have them read it, proofread it, get Grammarly, cannot have any mistakes and cannot have grammar mistakes. And if you write the letter of intent that you actually intended to go for master's program, I think it gets you a long way. It's important to have really good grades at Jerry, of course, but writing this heartfelt letter why you want to be, why you are the international student who should be in this program, I think it's very important.
I'm trying to think
Would you like to go ahead?
I know, I'm trying to think of some tips and tricks for, I think you have to do it for you. I think this is the biggest thing. I'm a GA and I work with our undergraduate students, and I hear so many of them. This is just in general for anyone going back to pursue higher education, is you have to do it because you want to, not because your parents or friends or other people want you to do this degree. In terms of any master's, graduate, med, anything like that, you have to want it, and it has to be what you want see yourself doing. Because, you know, we've talked about it a little bit. It's tough. Like, your grad program, it's not a walk in the park. I will say that it is those longer nights, but when I promise you, when you're doing the program that you're passionate about, it does not feel like work. It's still hard, but I'm so excited to do research. My fall semester is internship, capstone. It's just full research, and I hated research. I thought research was scary. I'm like, research is so stupid. I don't like literature reviews. I don't like thesis, freaks me out. What is research methods? But now I'm actually so heavily involved in research with professors on campus right now, and I love it. I'm thinking of topics every other week. I'm bringing things to the table. I spend in my spare time, I read journal articles and I go through them and I'm like, what is this? Who am I? Any argument I have that UNLV database is life-saving, your friends are Googling anything, you're like, oh, I got peer-reviewed journal articles to come back with you on that one. So again, the biggest thing is finding what you want to do for you, because it will make grad school so much fun. And do things like go to events that we have, come to these great workshops. I wish I went to all of them, sorry, but stuff like that, I think it's key.
You're not alone. Like we met in class, and from there, like, if I am having a breakdown, I know she's there to text me. It's gonna be okay. I'm staying up all night as well. It's a community of people who love what they want to do, and they're so passionate, and we're in this together kind of thing.
Sorry, I was kind of like jotting down the notes that I wanted to share because there's just so much that you can get out of the grad school. And not many people realize that. Like I remember being the undergrad and I was afraid of like even thinking about masters, and now I'm thinking about maybe getting a PhD again because research is so interesting and yeah, I understand that now. So the first thing I'd share is if you got your bachelor's from UNLV, it will be much easier for you to get to grad school here. For instance, I got my bachelor's in MIS, and to me it was easier to get into master's in MIS, although technically I can go to, for example, law school or do master's in another program that will accept me. But with MIS, I was kind of, it aligned with my interest and it aligned with my prior education. Again, going from bachelor's to master's was easier. First of all, you already know people who are here, for example, ISS, right? So the transition is kind of like easy for them to do. And the grad college is right there. They know how to help you right here. It's the process easier for them too. And you also already know the professors. For instance, like I did, I went from the same department to the same department, but for the master's, right? So I already knew the professors, and I didn't have to go through the whole new process of adjusting to this to their teaching styles or anything. So it was easier for me. And then the second tip I'm going to share is do apply for GA-ships. So many departments, like I believe Dave earlier showed the grad level gateway. There's the tab that says funding. It's next to admissions. Over there, do apply for GA-ships. Look at what their requirements are, like their resume or anything. For this upcoming year, the priority deadline has passed, but they name it as like a priority deadline from the grad school, but technically every department still accepts the GA applications, so do apply. And if you're particularly interested, for example, in the Department of Sociology or maybe getting your GA-ship with the OISS, I know that they offered some too, contact them directly and just ask if that's okay, if they still accept the applications. And I believe you are able to apply to many different GA-ships too. It will help you to pay for your education. It covers your entire tuition, and they also pay you the stipend for your part-time work with them. So really think about where you would like to get this work, and it will also be kind of the work experience for you after you graduate with your master's. When you're looking for jobs, you can say, hey, I've been working with OISS. I know how the government regulations work for the international students, and I, for example, would want to be an advisor in some other institution or even at UNLV, something like that. The next thing I'd share is scholarships. I cannot stress this enough. As international students, we're of course expected to fund our education, and we do, but we often don't know about the funding that's available to us. There's the alternate need determination form that you can apply for. It's practically the FAFSA for international students, as I came to realize. Any aid that's available for you, thank you, Talitha. Any aid that's available to you, they will just disperse it to you. It's, again, more like a lottery thing. It's a scholarship, we know it. But again, it's kind of worth to go that extra mile to get that free money to further help you pay for your education. And the graduate college has, if you Google graduate college UNLV, go to their website, look for scholarships. Their scholarships are typically due sometime in November or October, so double check the deadline. Apply for those. There are multiple scholarships for which you may qualify. And they're pretty good. They range from like 1,000 to like 5,000 for master students and even more for doctorate students. And also check your departmental scholarships. For example, I go to Lee Business School. They also have scholarships, also very good scholarships. The lowest one is like, I think $1,000 per semester. So again, it will help you to pay for your education. Now I've listed already, 3 sources of additional funding that you can get, right? The GA-ship, scholarships from through the alternate need determination form, and scholarships from your department. Do it. It will be worth it. And definitely find somebody who speaks English better than you, maybe somebody native. Ask them to help you run through your letter of intent, run through your scholarship letters, and make sure that you have a couple of professors that you kind of like you like them and you know that they like you too, and they ask them if they will write a letter of recommendation for you if needed for, again, applying to grad school, applying for GA-ship or scholarships. It will be very helpful. And then the last thing I want to share is if you know any of your friends who are doing GA-ship or just grad school, talk to them, ask them to walk you through the process, because I know that what we're sharing here now is important, and it's the first-hand resource right here because we have grad college and OISS right here. But it often might be helpful to hear this from your friend. Or you can, if you feel comfortable, you can reach out to me too. I can share my email here. Just please make sure to let me know that you're the international student, that you saw me on this event, so I know who I'm speaking to. I think that's all. I covered a lot.
That was a great transition. So like Dave said and like Medina said, GA-ships are a huge resource for all grad students, but especially international students. So please join us next week if you have questions about GA-ship, because we will have an entire hour-long workshop just to talk about GA-ships. We have 3 additional panelists who are current GAs, who will be also doing a Q&A section. And then since we are about 3 minutes over, if anyone else on this call has any questions regarding admissions, regarding, hey, if I want to go from like OPT back to grad school, what do I do? Or if I'm going to do direct like bachelor's to master's or master's to PhD and I just want to change of level, how do I do that? Please feel free to reach out to the wonderful people over at the International Grad Admissions Office. You can feel free to reach out to us over at OISS as well. And we are here to help you. It's one of our most favorite things to do. And Lori, Dave, did you want to add anything in conclusion before we all sign off?
Thank you all for being here. Really appreciate it. We know the process is daunting, so we do have a lot of resources for you. And feel free to reach out, even if you think of questions later, once you get the presentation, if you're like, oh, shoot, I meant to ask that. Or if you had questions that you just didn't want to ask in a setting like this, like give us a call, send us an email. We'll be happy to set up a time to chat with you.
Perfect. Yeah, and just picking back off, just thank you for everyone for joining and for all the kind things you guys are saying about the graduate college. I'm so happy everything worked out for you all. Again, we're here. There's a ton of resources. We'll find out something for you. I know Dave mentioned the Writing Center, which is a great help. And like I said, we do have events coming up. So if you have any questions, please attend those events. Let us know how we can help you.
All right, well, everyone will have a wonderful rest of your day. Hope everyone has a great weekend, and we will hopefully see you guys next week during our GA workshop. Bye, everyone.
Take care, everybody. Thanks so much.